In this video, we'll discuss the benefits of an adjustable bridge and demonstrate some of its various uses. Before we get to that, I'd like to talk about the importance of forward D position in the adjustable bridge system and how that affects the performance and comfort of the harness. By adjusting the riser webbing, the leg loop webbing, and the length of the bridge, we can change the position of the forward D. This has a dramatic effect on our center of gravity relative to the harness and our overall comfort in terms of pressure on our waist, hips, and legs. With the forward Ds positioned closer to the side rings, this will sit us more upright in the harness. With the forward Ds further away from the side rings and closer to our legs, this will change our center of gravity and tend to tip us backwards in our harness. A longer bridge will tend to position the forward Ds further from our center, while a shorter bridge will pull the Ds in further, putting more pressure on our waist, hips, and legs. The easiest way to understand how forward D position and bridge length will affect the performance and comfort of the harness is to put the harness on, make some adjustments, and see how it feels. I'll make a few extreme adjustments here, and let's see what it looks like. Here I have the riser webbing adjusted as short as possible and the leg loop webbing as long as possible while still observing the adjustment limits here in regard to the webbing stopper. You can see the forward D is very close to the side ring. This is going to sit me very upright, but it's going to put a lot of inward pressure on my waist and it's not going to be very comfortable. You can see here already, whoa, it sits me upright like this. Not a very comfortable position. Let's take that same configuration but run the bridge length out all of the way. This will alleviate some of the pressure on my waist, but still not going to be a very comfortable working position. Here I've adjusted the riser webbing to its full length while still observing the adjustment limits, and I've cranked down the leg loop webbing as tight as it can go. This will tend to flip me over backwards and put more pressure on my legs. See what that looks like? Okay, I'm using a lot of core strength to hold myself up here. Pressure in the legs. Let's see what happens when I lengthen the bridge. Okay, with the bridge lengthened, I have slightly less inward pressure on my legs, still tending to flip backwards. Now I have both the riser and leg loop webbing adjusted to their full length. This should keep me in a relatively neutral position, although I am feeling some inward pressure here on my waist. Let's adjust the bridge to its full length and see what happens there. Webbing and bridge adjusted to its full length. Pretty comfortable sit position. Again, the best way to determine which settings are best for your body type and climbing style is to sit in the harness and experiment with it. Make sure you stay within the adjustment limits and have fun. Okay, let's move on and demonstrate various configurations and uses for the adjustable bridge. We'll start here on the ground and work our way up into the canopy. When we're not using an adjustable bridge, we need to consider bridge length as part of the initial setup of the harness. We can choose various lengths of sewn bridges or knotted bridges, of course, but what a bridge adjuster allows us to do is lengthen or shorten the bridge on the fly and integrate it into our positioning system. These adjustments can range from very short to very long, or minor changes that can be made anytime to get the bridge exactly how you want it. When using the adjuster, the stopper knots at the end of the bridges generally don't see much force, and thus they're easier to untie. This makes adding or removing hardware to the bridge quick and simple. Lengthening the bridges can make it easier to put the harness on and take it off, particularly in the winter when you're wearing bulkier clothing. While positioning on a stem, regardless which system we use, a short bridge will keep us closer to our work. In this scenario, 2 adjustable bridges allow us to keep one short, and we can add friction below the device directly in line, versus taking the carabiner and connecting it to the forward D, for example. This same logic would apply when adding friction in a counterbalance rescue. We can shorten the bridge on ascent to keep our system low and close. A very short bridge works well at the top of the canopy where workspace may be limited. Lengthen the bridge to make long pulls underneath the friction hitch. This automatically manages slack and can leave one hand free for balance. return the bridge to your desired length for work positioning. If you've gone out on a limb walk and find that your system is out of reach, simply shorten the bridge to bring your system closer to you. Another option would be to shorten the bridge prior to the limb walk. In certain work positions, working with certain tools, or simply to declutter your workspace, it might be beneficial to lengthen both bridges and have the systems behind you. When bypassing a limb using the add-in prusik, it can be beneficial to have one bridge longer than the other. This also works on the way back, of course. Utilize the second bridge as a secure attachment point or a positioning aid as shown here. This is helpful when your climbing line and positioning lanyard are otherwise occupied. In an aerial rescue, you can use your second bridge as a connection to the casualty and tighten up as necessary with the cam. Lengthen the bridge for comfort when you're seated in a position for a long period of time. Two different bridge lengths can be helpful to keep things tidy and separated when descending on two systems. In this video, I've illustrated the effects of forward D position and the benefits of an adjustable bridge, both in terms of performance and comfort. Take the time to experiment with these concepts and see how they work best with your body type and climbing style. See you next time.